across the continent. I'm sure if we do the count, I'm not too sure if there was a single country that was left out. And then you had people coming from outside of the continent as well. So, and a lot of network opportunities were utilized there. Even as I speak, there's still work being done. Our name is Africa Prosperity Network, and I think maybe we don't say much about the networking aspect of it. There were about 500 entities that requested for B2B, as in business-to-business discussions. So even as I speak, those things are going on, where businesses are being linked to other businesses. And I think that's one of the key aspects of what we're doing. Because really, if you're saying that SMEs are the ones who will drive the market, then get them networking, get them working together, get them seeing how they can work together, collaborate across borders. It's even interesting that we had even companies from what we call Global Africa, as in there's an American family that have been, they started with a farm, family farm that goes back into generations. I'm not too sure. I think it's in Memphis. I'm not Arkansas. Okay. And they now turn the farm, added value to the farm, and are now doing vodka, gin, all manner of liquor. And they came to the event and have gotten businesses in other African countries. So really, it's not just Africa; it's also business.
It's gone global,
Absolutely. So I think it was. What we achieved was what we set out to do. I think the interest, as you probably saw more than I did. I think the interest was huge, and I think the diversity of discussions, issues raised, topics discussed were also vast and of substance, and of course, we crowned it all with the Make Africa Borderless movement, which is also gaining traction.
We've seen. We'll go into that.
So all in all, we're quite content.
Compared to previous editions of APD, how would you assess the growth and influence of African Prosperity Dialogues?
I think that's actually a very good question. I think from where I sit, it has been established. It's become part of the annual calendar for those of interest in Africa's development and economy, and of course the economic integration agenda. So I think in that sense it has become an event which people look forward to. And secondly, it grows year after year, so we're quite pleased with that. Very pleased, but that also comes with a lot more responsibility, because you need to either keep up or add more dimensions to it, in order to keep the interest alive and expanding. So yes, it is growing. There's absolutely no two ways about it.
I spoke to the founder and CEO of Sedlib, South Africa.
Okay.
She was excited about it. She said she was here last year for the last year's edition.
Okay.
She came with about 2 people, but this time she came with 8 people. And so she commended APD and says for that reason she doesn't know how she's going to miss any editions of the APD, because it's very, very it's a strong case and it has gone global. I mean, she's so excited about it. She came into the studio. We had a very huge conversation, a lengthy conversation was played yesterday, and she's very excited about it. The theme focused on empowering SMEs and women youth. The conversations, did they move beyond the rhetorics?
Well, I think it's too early to say.
Okay.
Because from the conversations or from the meetings and the rest of it, alliances are built. Collaborations are formed, and the rest of it. So it's too easy to say. It's too early to say, and is what we tend to do is after a week or so, because we have email addresses of all who participated, we send questionnaires, and then the responses, we analyze the responses, and then it helps us to measure the weight of impact of the event. So that's but for instance, I went round the exhibitors, and there wasn't one exhibitor who was not pleased with their participation. Some, of course, made sales. Some even compelled me to buy stuff. Well, through their marketing.
Yeah, there are some on me now. I had calls yesterday. I had messages of some of them,
and actually used some things that I bought. I bought some cosmetics. I actually use soap that I bought
shea
from
butter and all of that.
I use a shea butter this morning. Quite good. So, and I remember one real estate developer. I think it was the last couple of days that I managed to convince him. I managed to convince this real estate developer to participate, and when we finished the final day, I went. He had a booth, or they had a booth, and they had two salespersons, and one said to me that they sold 2 houses. So 2 days and maybe spending 10,000 CDs or whatever it is that they spent, and whatever sponsorship that they contributed, and then to sell 2 houses, and I know their houses don't go cheaper than maybe $500,000 or so. So that is
less than 72 hours.
Absolutely, that's not bad.
Yeah,
and I know those who got orders from across the continent. I know even those who got orders for vehicles. So it is growing, and we're also quite excited that, first of all, because you need to be accepted at home first, and I think the participation from Ghanaian companies was also massive. But the challenge really is it's difficult to is a not-for-profit organization, and you need to raise money through sponsorship, and it is not easy convincing Ghanaian companies to say that, hey,
put money into
a
this venture like that.
And what we're doing is that we are putting Ghana. It's really marketing Ghana. That's the first and foremost, because they are coming into your country. And they come in for business or for business discussions. These are entities that are obviously doing well in their countries, but are seeking to scale up and take a better advantage of the economic integration projects on the continent. And I believe that more and more Ghanaian companies should begin to recognize that what we've created is a platform for them to also see how they can leverage on that. But it's pretty challenging, that I find quite disappointing.
The key takeaways and maybe the outcomes of the APD 2026, are you able to share one or two with us? And then we'll talk about the making a strong case for that Africa cannot be sovereign without economic leverage and all of this.
The key. Okay, so what I would do is, first of all, I think tomorrow we having a meeting on the compact. Okay, because we're traveling to Addis Ababa, as we do all the time. After every APD, we go to Addis Ababa to share the compact with the African leaders there, and of course the other stakeholders. So that, and I haven't actually been part of the content team that's putting that together. But I think I can still perhaps from the top of my head precisely what will be one of the key takeaways, or one or two. I think what I saw and felt is the enthusiasm of the youth, the hunger of the African youth, the energy, and if like the energy and the shall I say the zeal of the African SME, the African SME to do more. And what I also saw was that the awareness of the single market, the awareness of the AFCFTA, okay, it's really now taking hold, and that's what we saw. We set out to do, is to let the African SME, let the African business people, the African businesses, the young people of the continent, to own this AFCFTA movement or project, because if they own it, then it moves from just being a document, to actually them thinking that, look, this is a big opportunity for us, because it's as if somewhere not too conscious of the fact that there's a 1.5 billion market out there. Okay, and what I also found interesting, and especially there was a roundtable discussion that was part of, which was organized by CIWIC, the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council. What you gather from the discussions, especially from companies that are not even in Africa, but they are outside, maybe within the bigger Commonwealth market and the rest of it, is that they are now seeing that, look, we can come set up manufacturing base
in Africa,
on the continent, in order to gain access to this broader market. So then the question for them as an investor, whether it's an African investor looking to take advantage of the single market, or a foreign investor looking to come into the continent and take advantage of the single market, then the issue now is which country offers the right incentives for me to set up there. And I think that's what the African countries and governments have to be looking at. What are the policies that we are putting in place in order to be a destination for the investor who wants to take advantage of Africa's single market? And really, I think that's where our governments will have to be looking at it, because at the end of the day,
practical steps.
Absolutely, there must be practical steps, and I'm not going to prescribe any practical steps for any government. But what we're doing is we also do surveys, and I said there'll be a questionnaire, and that questionnaire will come out with we'll be able to collate what people are saying, but from the discussions, especially the 12 breakfast meetings that were held, a lot of information came out of it in terms of what SMEs believe that must be done for them, in terms of what women think that should be done for them, or what they should be enabled to do, as it were. When you say done for them, it's as if they are stretching their arm for arms. But really, it's what needs to be done in order to enable them to do what they want to do. So all those things will come out, and in fact they came out, except that I haven't had the opportunity to study the collated information, which hopefully it will be done tomorrow. So for me, the takeaways are that is even the first one is the consciousness, the awareness of the young people, and also for the young people to see that, look, even though today we may feel frustrated, today we may feel that the space for jobs, or the space for us to gain access to funds to set up a business or whatever it is may seem narrow, okay? But it looks like there's a future for us, there's a future for our continent, but it means that certain things ought to be done. And what can we do to support those things being done so that eventually we will benefit from it?
Well, many protocols like free movement have been signed but not ratified. One may ask, what is holding these countries back, and how realistic is the Make Africa Borderless campaign now in the short to medium term?
Yeah, I think you've noticed my energy is a bit low.
Yeah, I can understand.
I think it's just
coming from a tedious.
But I thought it was important to have this interview. You've made the point, okay? So, and I think there's a point that the speakers and all sought to do. And what was interesting was that whether it was government officials, whether it was just a business, a thought leader, or AU commissioner, okay, they all spoke about the urgency required to implement these protocols and treaties that will give us a single market. You asked a very important point. This is the free movement of people in terms of residence and settlement of businesses protocol that is yet to be ratified. Now, this protocol was in 2018, January 2018, at Addis Ababa, and then 2 months later, they went to Kigali to then sign up to the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Now, you cannot have free trade, or you cannot have a single market, or you cannot have economic integration if you don't have free movement. Free movement, not just of people, but of businesses. So, for instance, if I'm a bank and I'm a Pan-African bank, and I want to set up in one country within the AU member states, and that country has domestic laws, okay, which forbids foreigners from owning banks, a bank there, that law should not stand. Okay?
Under the circumstance,
If we're saying that we've signed up to AFCFTA because it's been ratified and it's in operation, AFCFTA agreement, yet we can't move freely. Okay? We can't move freely, as in travels. Our goods can't move freely. We can't move freely to set up businesses in different countries, expand. We have to go through a whole manner of regulatory sort of hurdles, which may even have different rules for companies within Africa, but in a different country. Because the single market also means that if I'm a Ghanaian company and I want to set up business in Kenya,
Yeah.
okay, I shouldn't face rules that are different from what a Kenyan company that is seeking, or a Kenyan entrepreneur that's seeking to set up business in some part of Kenya
Yeah.
should have to adhere to. The rules must apply to us the same.
The same. Yeah.
Okay, that's fundamental to building a single market. So it is really weird, and it is completely unacceptable that we can be going around saying we have AFCFTA, okay,
Yeah.
and then the rush with which they all ratified the AFCFTA,
Yeah.
and then the free movement, the protocol that will allow the free movement, we are not interested in it.
Yeah.
And that question has to be answered properly, and it must be answered by getting the necessary numbers to ratify. It requires just 15 countries.
Okay.
And the 4 countries that have signed up, I don't know if I can be reminded of them, but the 4 countries, I think, Sao Tome, check for me.
Okay.
They include Niger and Mali. And even as we speak,
Mhm.
those 2 countries have been suspended from the
Yeah.
AU.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're part of the AES. So, which means that we still need 13 additional signatures. So then the question is, why hasn't Ghana signed? Why hasn't Nigeria signed? Why hasn't Cote d'Ivoire signed? You know, why haven't they? Why hasn't it been signed by these countries? Why haven't they gone ahead to ratify? Not sign, ratify, because of course they signed for the protocol to come into place, but they must ratify it, which means that if they has to go through the parliamentary procedure or whatever it is that requires a treaty to be ratified in their country, they should go ahead and do it. And I think that's one of the main items of our borderless campaign, because we are saying that if you can't have that going, there's absolutely no way that you can have a single market, you know. And I think really, if we get the media houses, the journalists, the reporters, the CSOs on the continent to say that, look, we want this protocol ratified, and you may say that there's a challenge to its ratification. Then the question I ask is, when you were adopting it, that's when we expect that those challenges would have been what?
Seen and worked on.
Precisely. Discussed and solutions found and an agreement made. Because once you sign, you adopt it. The next step for you as a member state is to ratify it, or go through the processes, your domestic process, to ratify it. But they haven't done it. You know, and I think that what we've been struggling with as a continent is the lack of the political will or courage, okay, to get things happening, the things that we know that we need to get them done in order for Africa to get to where we want Africa to get to. I'll give you a typical example. In ECOWAS is over 40 years. I think now we are hitting 50 years. ECOWAS 1975, I believe. Yeah, 1975, 76, okay. Here in Accra, 1977, they came together what is called ASO, A-R-S-O. That's when it's an organization that is about standardizing our Ghana. They have the Ghana Standards Authority. So there's this organization that was put together, you know, and it's supposed to the African standardized. What's it called?
African Organization for Standardization.
African Organization for
Standardization. Yeah.
Good. 1977. It was here. They signed here in Accra. Now that was done for a particular reason, because they recognized that was the beginning of economic integration, because if we're going to have a single market, we must have the capacity to produce what we consume,
That's right.
to produce what we can sell among ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay? So manufacturing is key. And as soon as you have a single market, it creates an incentive for manufacturers to invest in setting up factories.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the question was that, but if for that to succeed, then we must have a common standard for manufactured goods. Okay? And that common standard must apply to all member states. So, this water, I don't know whether, I hope they are paying you sponsorship because you're advertising Verna. So, Verna, okay,
Yeah.
produced in Ghana,
Yeah.
does not have to go to the Food and Drugs Authority in another member state for it to be certified, to go through the processes. Because by the time you are doing that, the other brands from countries
London
from
and
France
Ireland,
and the rest of it, they are selling.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And then you have to do that through all these African countries. Okay? And even when you have that common standard, if Perrier or whichever water company outside of the continent, if they want to gain access to all these countries, it is easier for them to do what? To set up their bottling
companies there
on the continent.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if a Chinese manufacturer, whatever the tool is, whatever the equipment is, okay,
Yeah.
rather than producing it in China to then sell to the continent, what they will be looking at is which country can we set up our factory. And we are choosing this country because, one, they have macroeconomic stability. Two, they have skilled staff, workers. Three,
There's a standardized certification.
well, the standard certificate is supposed to work across the,
yeah.
yes, but there are certain peculiarities, advantages that the country
okay.
has. Whether it's in terms of logistics, whether it's transport infrastructure,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's the efficacy of doing business,
Yeah.
you know, so we want to set up there
Yeah.
in order to gain market to the bigger.
Compelling reasons for them to set up
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So they did this back in 1977. Okay? Back in 1977. But then what has happened since then? The next major step was when our leaders met in Abuja in 1991. Okay? Then they set up what they call the African Economic Community. All right?
Yeah.
That Abuja Treaty was ratified in 1994, which means that by 1994 they had gotten enough countries ratifying the treaty in order for it to be what? Enforced. And this was a treaty that said that we're going to have a single currency, we're going to have an African central bank,
Okay.
we're going to have a customs union, among other things. So in a sense that we were going to now build a single market on the continent. And they gave themselves a target, which was that in 34 years' time, all these, the full implementation of the Abuja Treaty would have taken place. And I'm sure for those who were in that conversation, they thought even 34 years was a long time. It was too long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yes.
eventually.
But it's 2 years away from us.
Yeah. Yeah. It will come eventually.
And then the question is, how far have we gone to implement or in implementing the Abuja Treaty, which is supposed to build a single market? We haven't gone far enough. In fact, they were practical enough to say that let's begin by focusing on strengthening the regional economic communities.
Okay.
Okay? And all these things that we want to implement, let's make sure that they are deepened within those recs, and once they are developed and consolidated within those recs, all we need to do is just link the recs. Okay? But then we have even, was it just yesterday, was it 3 days ago? Well, on Thursday, we got a presentation from the African Development Bank on the African Visa Openness Index 2025. And even in terms of free entry movement, it is clear that there are some recs like ECOWAS, which is way on top, and then you have other regional blocks that are way below. But even within ECOWAS, we have seen new challenges emerging. I was in Lome the other day. Unknown to me, I got to Lome. I now have to fill some forms, because before I didn't have to do that. You have to go on a computer to fill some forms. The same thing when you go to Nigeria these days. So there are still certain obstacles being put in place, but at least ECOWAS is way ahead. So if we here, where we have Guta always chasing out Nigerians, okay, or Nigeria stopping certain imports from the rest of West Africa, if we are ahead, then what about the rest? So essentially there are a lot of work that needs to be done, but the work that needs to be done have already been agreed to by our leaders. Okay?
But the political will to get them implemented or working is what is lacking.
It's what is lacking. But you see, I think that one, for the politician, and we saw it in 1963, especially conversations between Nkrumah and Nyerere on the other side, conversations between the those who were for unity, unification now, and those who were the gradualists. Okay? Now, the question really is this. It is important, and I think that should be where the political will should start from. Because the focus is, one, the African leaders want to protect their sovereignty. Okay? Yes, but in America, they have governors, don't they? And the power of a governor in the United States is even stronger than a lot of presidents across the world. Okay? Because essentially you have your own budget. It's like you are running your own state, because that's what it is. Okay? Now, we are not even talking about having one president in Africa. That's not I'm not interested in that political. It's not in our conversation. It's not about, and we're not saying that because of that we're not going to have AFCON. We still have AFCON. Okay? So there will still remain states. I mean, they're models, like even the EU. Okay? But we are saying that we want you to see that your sovereignty is actually restricted by the limitations that the borders place on your country. Your sovereignty is actually limited, and your sovereignty can be rather scaled if you have economic integration. Okay? And I think that if we get the politicians to accept that, look, this will help us rather than impede our
growth.
Because I made the point the other day that, currently we have over 1 billion young people on the continent. Over 1 billion. All right? And these are people below the age of 35. Out of a population of 1.5 billion, over 1.1 billion or so are young people. And the biggest challenge or threat facing our continent are not the young people, but the frustration of the young people.
So I was going to ask, what could be the consequences, the dire consequences, if the continent fails to integrate economically?
So this is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Once we need to get the politician to understand that it will help them politically.
Yeah.
It will help them in terms of peace and stability. Okay?
Yeah.
If they allow the young people the freedom to unleash their skills, to unleash their talents,
Yeah.
to gain access to a wider market, to move freely, to see where their skills can be best realized.
Yeah.
So if we, because clearly the EU is talking to India today in signing a free trade agreement with India, because India has scale.
Yeah.
India has population. Okay?
Yeah.
India has a bigger market, 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And if we have that big market, that you can bring your goods into Africa, anywhere into Africa, pay your tariffs, and then the goods can be sold anywhere across the continent.
Yeah.
If we do so, then we can create the jobs. Because look, in America today, or even in any so-called advanced economy, you can pick up your phone. We're seeing it in Ghana,
Yeah.
but not on the scale that we're talking about. Amazon.
Yeah.
Why is the guy a billionaire? Okay? Why? Because he came out with an answer how to take advantage. How big is the American population? About 300 million?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
300. Yeah.
Okay, but with a lot of
a little over 300.
okay, but they have the purchasing power.
Yeah.
Okay, and Amazon is now what, global?
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and because what are they using? They are using technology, because currently, and that's why one of the big asks of the movement that we've set up
Yeah.
is about continent-wide mobile money interoperability. I remember whenever I mention it, you may have voices saying that I'm putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have the roads, if we don't have the railways,
Yeah.
if we don't have the free air cargo transports across the continent, what is the point in people being able to buy and sell using their mobile money wallet? My answer is the other way around. Okay? Once they buy, once they sell, and then they get the custom, okay, for their goods and services, it creates an incentive for investors to get those goods that have been bought to the buyer, from the seller to the buyer. Okay, so if we have a 1.5 billion market, and we are talking about a continent where the digital economy is really being felt perhaps more than in any other continent. Why do we say so? Because it's creating the inclusivity that was not there before. Those who didn't have access to banks, bank accounts, now have through mobile money wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, it is allowing, and it's been, I think the mobile money market is growing fastest in Africa.
Very, very fast.
Fastest in Africa. Okay, so we are saying that let's take advantage of that, because it is what is bringing us together.
Yeah.
Okay, before, when your family member in the village asks for money, you can say, oh, me bad, and will be bad. But now when they ask you, within 2 minutes they expect you to do momo, isn't it the case? But there's also a positive aspect of it. Okay, but I remember, I think 2025 or 2024, the regional head of UBA, Abiola, said something at one of our panel discussions. She said, look, you have a worker from Burkina Faso, okay,
Yeah.
in Ghana. She's paid by Momo. She could even be just a porter, okay, but you can pay the porter by Momo.
Yeah.
And she wants to send money to her family members in Ouagadougou. What does she have to do? She has to go to a forex bureau Yeah?
Yeah.
Goes to the Forest Bureau to then buy safer.
Yeah.
Okay? And then go to the transport station to find a person
Who's traveling to that?
who's traveling to Ouagadougou and hoping that she can place her trust in that person. And when that person gets there, that's if the vehicle doesn't encounter any challenges and get there, maybe after 2 days. Okay? Hopefully, the money will get to the family because she hasn't got a bank account, but she has within Ghana, okay, the fullness of what mobile money wallet.
Yeah.
And being able to have her own accounts within the mobile wallet, okay, and being able to trade, to send money. But once she's crossing the border, then she goes back to the traditional setup, which is actually going to a forex, shop to then do the change and then go by road. When there's that digital space that can get the money there within seconds. All right, so we are saying that, please, governments, allow mobile money interoperability to work continent-wide. And we're not just saying so. I mean, we were part of Africa Prosperity Network. We're part of the group with, Bridge, the central banks of Ghana and Nigeria, and I think MTN at the time, to start a pilot.
Yeah.
I want to know what the results of the pilot scheme was, because in the beginning you may see that there's an imbalance. It could be that perhaps more is going to one country rather than the other, and that's what will make central banks jittery.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you take these sort of short-term challenges to then, if you like, describe the whole project as impractical, then it works against you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what is the difference between Ghana and Nigeria? For Ghana, we can say that we are a smaller market, so it will benefit us rather, okay, for Ghanaian traders, Ghanaian entrepreneurs to gain access to the Nigerian market, okay? And Nigeria can also say that, we have a bigger market, so we produce more. So it will be easier for us to gain, to sell to Ghana. All right?
Yeah.
Okay? And then you have, I believe, I'm told about maybe 1 million Nigerians in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. So those million Nigerians in Ghana, you can say that they will send money back
to Nigeria.
Yeah. So that's what will create the imbalance.
Yeah.
But then the thing is that for the Ghanaian entrepreneur, he or she then gains access
to gain,
to that larger market in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And Nigeria is what, about 5 times the size or 4 times the size of Ghana? I think about 6 times, Ghana, we are 35. Nigeria is what? Nigeria's population, it depends on what they need the numbers for. It can be 250 million. It can be 270. What is it? It's what?
2024. It was 232.7.
So they said 232. It depends on what they needed those figures for. But so you have so calculate it. Do the maths. You are 35 million, 36 million. Nigeria is 230 million. Look at the difference. Okay, you are about what, 5-6 times whatever the size. Smaller. Okay. It will benefit Ghanaian.
Yeah, it will benefit.
We shouldn't be worried that the 1 million or so Nigerians here will send money there. Of course, it will also mean that they will also receive from Nigeria. So my thing is about how the countries themselves, okay, see where they have, if you like, an advantage in, and how they leverage it. I think that's what it means. Okay, because you have countries like Ireland, you have small countries like Portugal, and they are all part of the European Union. These are small economies, but they are part of the European Union, competing with countries like France, Germany, okay, the bigger economies. But they are there, and they have ways of balancing these things. So for us, the biggest threat is about youth unemployment. And when you have a situation where by 2040, how many years away? 2040 is what? 13 years, 14 years away?
Yeah.
14 years away.
Years, yeah.
It's just round the corner.
Yeah.
Okay? 2040, you have a workforce of over 1.3 billion. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And the youth population at that time will be about 1.7,
Yeah, would have gone
1.6.
higher,
All right. Workforce of 1.3 billion. How are we going to satisfy this workforce?
Well,
How are we going to satisfy them? And you know, look, if for me, where I sit, if the AFCFTA,
no.
the impact of the AFCFTA is not felt by the African people within its first 10 years, trust me, it is dead. It becomes just another bureaucracy.
Yeah.
The AFCF secretariat that sits in Accra will become just another bureaucracy, and just showing little sort of gains that they've made without necessarily making the impact that it was set out to do. So these first 10 years are absolutely crucial. That whatever that is required, okay,
Yeah.
if it's a free thing, let's do it. Whatever that is required, let's make it happen. You know, I hear a lot of comments. Sako there did the video supporting the Make Africa Borderless campaign, and Stoneboy also came to speak on it. And then I read some of the comments and the post.
Yeah.
Fortunately, majority of it is positive, which means the youth are seeing it.
Yeah.
But then there are concerns. The big one is that a borderless Africa means that criminals can just walk in and out.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right? How are we going to control our borders? It means what? People can just move in and out? But I'm saying that don't look at it from that point of view, because a borderless Africa doesn't necessarily mean weaker borders. Okay? What it means is that you don't have to let people wait at the borders. There are two ways. You can do what they do within the Schengen treaty area zone, the Schengen zone in Europe. You drive through, and I experienced it because as a younger man, my parents lived in Germany, and I had friends in Belgium, Holland and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember, and we used to just drive from Düsseldorf to whether
Amsterdam.
Den Haag, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, whatever, and you go through the borders. You just wake up one day and it was just free. You just drive through. Okay, so you can drive through within the Schengen treaty zone. You just drive through. Okay, it was beautiful, but then you can have a situation where country like the UK was not part of the Schengen. Okay, what it means is that you don't need a visa to get to the UK. UK, of course, Brexit, they've left. You didn't need a visa to get to the UK, but when you get there, they check your passport, your EU passport, because we had one. We had EU. They have one passport, the same color. It's brown, but they check your passport and then you just go through. There's no question about what are you going to do in our country, what fill forms, that kind of thing. So we are saying that, look, we have biometric technology on the continent. In fact, a Ghanaian company is one of the leading companies when it comes to biometric ID. You know the name, okay? All right. So, and at the moment, countries across the continent are going that way. Okay, we can even find a way that our DFIs, our developed financial institutions, okay, or whether it is through whatever fund or whatever, we can help these smaller economies to also have the same EU ID.
Yeah.
Now, when you have an EU ID, biometric ID, it doesn't mean that it is necessarily issued by the EU.
Yeah.
It is issued by the country that of your country of origin or citizenship. Yeah. Okay, but then it means that you gain access because they have a common platform. Yeah. They can exchange data and the rest of it. It means that you don't need, once you have the EU biometric ID, if you get to the border, there's a system, it goes through, you are checked, and then you go through.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. What it means is that they can track people as to which countries you are in. So we don't have to...
At any point in time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we don't have to... A borderless Africa doesn't necessarily mean that a weaker border.
All right, listeners, okay. I'm talking to...
But a more efficient, visa-free, checks-free sort of... So the only check that we do is that your date, your ID card goes through a system. They can even take a picture of it. Then you are in the country. You know, and it's easier. I mean, we miss a lot of opportunities because it's easier for Europeans to come into Africa than for Africans to traverse the continent. And that is a tragedy.
All right, so that's the founder and chairman, executive chairman of Africa Prosperity Network.
Whose energy is low today?
The energy, your energy came up along.
Oh, really? Okay.
It came up. All right, so beyond the dialogues, you know, what are you doing to track the commitments made at APD 2026? We are wrapping up shortly.
Okay. I think what are we doing? First of all, we have a whole secretariat, APA secretariat, and I told you that even now we are fixing B2B meetings.
Yeah.
What we're doing is that, in fact, one of the steps we are taking is that we have a network. We are even going to institutionalize the membership of that network. Okay, we are growing the network. I think now we may be 17,000. I have to check, but whatever it is, we're going to institutionalize that network with membership, and there may be some little membership fee that one has to pay, and use that to then see how we can see real benefit from businesses collaborating. Okay, so that's one step. The other step is that, like I said, as we do every year, I'm going to Addis Ababa this week. The team is going to Addis Ababa. We will send our compact there. We'll present it officially to the AU and heads of government. We do that like we do every year. And then we have also set up a desk or secretariat within the secretariat. We call it Africa Without Borders Secretariat. And that's the secretariat or the desk that is dealing with the 12-month campaign. The first phase of the campaign is for the first is for a year. In the petition, that's the one that is mobilizing the signatures so that we can send it to the AU hopefully within a year. That's if we can mobilize 10 million signatures. And so that's the other aspect. Then there's an interesting discussion going on. And that discussion is about APD 27. It comes up every year. This year the voices have been stronger that we should take it to another country. For some reason I'm a bit more flexible about that option than I was maybe
a year or two ago.
Because it's getting louder and louder. But we will meet as in the board of directors. We will meet as in the advisory council as well, take their wisdom from there, and then we decide whether to stay
or to move.
or to move, as in rotate.
Okay.
I was skeptical about the rotational option, in a sense that I see this as our own
baby.
World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
If you like. I hate making that comparison, but like, people go to Davos because they expect that conversation. So you want them to come to Accra at the beginning of every year because they expect that Accra will host. But it's also difficult if Ghanaian businesses are not patronized
elsewhere.
If they are not patronizing the way that we expect them to patronize, and if there's another country that will be more supportive in terms of their businesses and the rest of it,
why not?
So yes, I mean it's getting support from Ghanaian businesses. It's been very, very difficult. So there's that, but it's not just about also the support from the business. It's about, would it be then more African if we take it to those countries? But at the same time, too, people are getting used to the fact that they can put in their calendar that I will be in Accra the first month of the year, or
on this date.
That kind of thing. But definitely it is a matter for discussion, by the board and the advisory council.
Found there any mention of partners or sponsors who helped this put this whole show together? You want to
we can mention. I mean, certainly in terms of support, AFDB, Afri-Exim Bank, the Arab Bank for Development for Africa, the Ghanaian, maybe let's focus maybe a lot more on the Ghanaian companies, because the Ghanaian companies that came out to support, I have to have a list because I don't want to leave anybody out. We had Tetraco, which is Nigerian, but I think they've set up the gas thing just a few weeks ago. We had Wando is Nigerian, but I think they have some business here. We had, in terms of Ghana, we have the Gold Coast Golden Coast Development. We had Jospong. We had the biggest supporter, and we really respect them for that, is KGL. Yes, and I think in his speech, Alex Dade made some profound statements that I think governments across the continent should see. So sometimes African companies that are doing well, you have Africans being recruited as foot soldiers in helping to bring those companies down. And if we don't build African champions, look at what Dangote is doing. And if you go to the history of Dangote, it took exceptional support for Dangote to get to where it is now. And once you build the single market, then you will begin to have global champions in Africa. Because once they have access, because companies like the Dangotes, they already have the market, or they already have the expertise, the business, and access to capital. But if then they don't have to require 33 visas, they don't have to require 33 regulatory bodies to navigate through. If they don't have all those things, then they become bigger. And then we build these champions who can then even go global out of Africa. So we have KGL. We had who? Did we? We had KGL. I'm not too sure. We had who else? Let me send me the list. We had UMB. We had I think Star Assurance. We had quite a few companies in Ghana. I think we had Magdan. Yes, we had Rigweld. We had I mentioned Jospong, Car Bank, of course. I see Jatasman there. Who else have I seen? RNVQ, is that RNAQ? Sorry. This is the young man who celebrated his 40th birthday. We had Goldboard. We had Fabri Metal. We had of course the two big entities that came strong for us were KGL, Telecel, Jata Cement. and yeah. So these were the three Ghanaian companies that came very, very strong for us. And then we have partners like JTDC, the Ghana Tourism Development. Of course, they were more like, they came as partners. So we gave them the platform because we thought it was important for them to showcase tourism in Ghana.
Okay.
So they didn't have to pay anything. We just gave them the opportunity. We gave a similar opportunity to GIPC. We didn't ask them to pay any money, but we said, look, there's a platform for you. Use it to to project Ghana as an investment destination. So those were, and I hope I didn't leave any others out. And then we have my own law firm, ALA, which gave us some support. And then ALPI, which is the African Law Practice International Group.
Okay.
Yes, I think those are the ones that I remember. But there are many others.
Okay.
There weren't that many.
Well, maybe in good time we'll come for the list and then acknowledge them.
But there weren't that many.
Right.
It was quite disappointing. And it's you are talking about, especially for me, the most disappointing thing are the entities within the fintech space. Okay, because this campaign is to benefit them, but I'm not too sure that we had one single fintech. Yes, I mean, unless you want to talk about Telecel, that felt that we got in touch with. There's some, I don't want to mention their names, that even supported us previously, but felt that this time they didn't. Whilst the thing is actually getting bigger, whilst the interest and the things that we're pushing, because when you look at the 12 items, those 12 items actually benefit them. And if we're able to push it, and I'm telling you, we will push it, because we pushed for this continent-wide mobile money interoperability to be accepted at the AU Media Coordination meeting, where they had all the RECs, the Regional Economic Community, and they gave themselves to 2027. So our campaign, our advocacy is that you said that by 2027, going by the AFCFTA Digital Trade Protocol, which you adopted in 2024, by 2027, you will have continent-wide mobile money interoperability. Let's have it now, because it will help the small business in one small country looking to buy, to sell its products across its borders. Just help them do so. So really, I think that's what we can say. But it's been positive, and we thank Asaase, we thank Channel 1, we thank which stations? TV3, we thank GH1, amazing, Bolare, Samens. Those were people who came really for us. Beatrice at TV3. And which other media houses? Joy News, Joy also came quite strong. So we thank, which ones?
Max 24.
So we thank all the media houses. And Asaase, you didn't have a choice. Right. You were amazing. Yes,
Thank you so much for coming, Chairman. And he's also the executive chairman. He's the founder and executive chairman of Africa Prosperity Network.
And I'm told that in Cape Coast and Tamale, you have taken some steps there.
Yeah,
I support that fully, because I keep hearing that those two stations where Cape Coast, Asaase Cape Coast, was the best in the area.
Yeah,
Tamale were the best or the second best. Yeah. But for some reason, those stations must be run properly.
Yeah.
If you have the market, if you have the listenership,
you must leverage.
You must leverage. If you're not leveraging, it can't continue being subsidized. So I support the decision that's been taken. Suspend operations for a while, and then review and see how, if you get new people or better people to run it and manage it, so that they can make commercial sense. Out of the leverage that they have, because if they are the best stations in those areas, it must reflect. Yes, it's a business you are running. It's not charity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. And this, you didn't mention Arsenal. You are winning the league.
Oh, I mean Liverpool. I mean, they're so spineless. I mean,
So what
80,
the City
really?
did to
All we needed was a draw.
Yeah.
But I'm happy where we are. I understand there are 13 games left.
Yeah, 13.
We are what? How many points? 6 or so points ahead?
9.
No.
Okay.
City won.
Okay, City 1.
Yeah,
so it
City won.
comes to 6.
6. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
All we have to do is keep on winning. Okay.
In that game, I was looking for a draw.
Same here.
And Liverpool.
Same here. But it's fine. We have our destiny in our own hands.
Let's see how
and
it
it
goes.
appears that we may end up facing City 4 times
Yeah.
this season. But we are ready for them.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.